And good morning, everyone. Good morning, good
Hello.
morning. Here we have Kat on the, which way? This way. On the chat today. Feel free to say hello where you're from, and we can have another lovely Wednesday class. And as you can see, I'm not Cliff. Cliff is, he's having a birthday week off. So feel free to send your birthday wishes to Cliff. I'm going to be running today's class. Be the same old sort of thing, which is always lovely. Yeah, I'll have another moment, just there's still a few people arriving before we start. But as always, this is going to be carrying on with our lovely theme that we've got. So we're still in the channel of the large intestine, which is what we've been running with for the last couple of weeks. And we'll have another couple of weeks before we move to a new channel. So we're going to be changing channel every month, as I'm sure has been said. Hello, everyone. There's lots of people coming on. Fantastic. So nice to see that there's such a lovely big community and a lovely big group that we can all share these things together. Okay, I shall get started. So here we go. So whenever you're ready, as I like to do whenever we start, let's all have a moment just kind of closing our eyes. And before we go into scanning, before we go into doing any exercises, I'd like us to just imagine that we're all together in a group. So it's lovely hearing you say hello. Whenever you're ready, come and take a moment sitting or standing. And close your eyes. Bring your attention inside. And just imagine that you're standing in a great big circle. And just try to get a sense of that circle of people that is this whole class. Everyone who's here right now, everyone who's tuning in later. And we're just going to have a really nice group, a lovely class, a lovely session together. And it's just a nice way to start. Get a sense of that group. Lovely. And a little bit of thanks. Okay. Fantastic. It's just a little way to start off. Now, what is it? Oh, yes. So we're going to do, as usual, we'll do a scan all the way through the body. If this is your first time, I'll try not to be too quick about it, but yeah, it'll be very simple and easy. And then we'll check in with our 3 burning spaces, and we'll do some polls, and then we'll get started. Okay. So bring your attention to the top of your head. I like to have my feet about shoulder width apart. You can have yours hip width apart, but it's probably best if you're not really close. So nice and settled. Attention at the top of the head. And just notice how the top of your head is feeling. And around the sides of the head, and the front and the back of the head. Maybe go down through the face. And the back of the head all the way to the neck. How's your jaw? How's your throat? All the way down to the shoulders. Just noticing how it is. How are you feeling? Anything to note? Anything to remember? And your shoulders across the tops. All the way down the arms. All the way down to the elbows. Through the lower arm. The wrists and hands and fingers, anything going on there. And then back up to the chest. How's the chest today? Any tension, tightness, weakness, emptiness? Upper back. All the way through your organs. To your rib cage, front, sides, back. Down through your trunk. You've got lots of lovely, yummy organs, and you've got a nice backbone. And then go through the pelvis, and your hips, your thighs, all the way down through your legs, longer piece of body, into the knees. How are your knees today? Carry on down through your legs, calf muscles, ankles, feet. Check in with your feet. Very important to be aware of your feet. And to the ground. Okay, and briefly just get an overall awareness of how you are today, like a big photo snapshot. Where are you drawn to? Okay. And if you've got paper and pen, I'm going to ask you to make some notes. So I'm just going to make a quick kind of little doodle on a piece of paper what I'm noticing. So this is what I've come up with today. As you can see, there's a bit of something going on with my shoulders and something more in the kind of upper body area. Now we'll get a little bit more closer into detail. So if you haven't made any notes, don't worry. Just see if you can remember. Now we're going to get into our burning spaces. So these are like 3 areas in the body where you have your organs, and there's a main sort of quality of energy being maintained and generated in the body. So the first area is the lower burner, and that goes from the pelvis, really from the pelvic floor, all the way up to your belly button, front, sides and back. And then from the belly button up to the diaphragm, you've got a lot more of your sort of earlier digestive organs, stomach, spleen, liver, things like that. And then from the diaphragm up to the top is the upper burner. Okay. So first of all, we're going to start off with the lower burner. Bring your attention to your lower burner. You can put your hands on if you like, or you can just tune in. Just get a sense of how your lower burner from the pelvic floor up to your belly button, your intestines and kidneys and bladder, just generally the area. Okay, maybe there's something to notice, maybe there isn't, but in a moment it might become clearer. Bring your attention a little bit closer up now. So now your belly button to diaphragm kind of area, all the way around here. So bring your attention into the middle burner, the middle area of your torso. Just notice how you're feeling here. How free is it? How tight is it? How empty, full? What's it like? And just have a sense of comparing. Is it exactly the same as how my lower burner was? Bring your attention back down to the lower burner, lower part of the body, and then to the middle burner. Any difference? Anything to note? Okay. Now from the diaphragm up to the collarbone, edge of the shoulders, upper body, upper burner. Tune in to the upper burner. Just get a sense of how it is, what it's like, what's going on in the upper body. Okay, and very briefly just sort of go, is it exactly the same as the other 2? Maybe, maybe not. For me, quite different. I'm going to make a quick note of this. Please, you do too, as well, if you have any pen and paper. You can either use a separate piece of paper or the same one. I'm going to use the same one. Okay, so I'm now going to show you my picture with the added quality of the 3 burning spaces. So the bottom one a bit sort of wiggly, the middle burner a bit tight and held, and then the upper burner a bit empty. Which doesn't surprise me because I easily have digestive issues, and not long ago, a few weeks back, I had COVID, so my lungs are a bit weak. So actually that makes a lot of sense. Now, what I would like you to do is, Kat is going to set up a poll, please Kat, about which burning space you would like to focus on. So if you've got an idea of which of those burning spaces you would most like to focus on, then here we go. So click on whether you'd like more the middle burner, upper burner. Here we go. Lots of things coming in now. Keep on clicking if you haven't already clicked, just so we get a really good sense of which sort of things we can focus on a bit more for more people. Of course, we'll cover exercises for all of the burners, so it's all good. And so that's most of us. Middle and upper are really kind of like, they're a level with each other. So most of us have put in, and it's just pipped on the middle burner, but upper burner is quite strong too, and lower burner is not far off as well. So it's kind of even, but the middle burner is definitely sort of pipped the post. And I'd say that's the one that I'd really like to clear. So thanks. Now, from when we did a scan, I'd also like you to just be aware of one other thing. So I'm just going to, here we go. So just notice, one more time, we're going to do another poll after this. So standing here, we've gone through our scan. We're aware of a few areas we might want to work with. We've focused on the burning spaces, so we're kind of a bit more aware of like where we're going to focus energetically and how we can do that. We'll do that in the class. But now, just while standing here, get a sense of how up or how down your general feeling of your body and mind and energy sort of is. Now, it's just very sort of general, not having to be too specific. But do you feel more kind of like settled on the ground and a bit kind of nothing up here? Or do you feel a bit sort of full up here, but sort of not very grounded down? Or are you kind of in the middle? So just take a moment, notice in yourself, how up or down is this body feeling? Okay, so make a note of that. And Kat, if you'd be so kind to share a poll, we're going to ask you now to also key in as to how up or down in your body you're feeling. And I think the poll, here we go. Very much too up, very ungrounded, or just a bit up and ungrounded, or about balanced, or too down, feel a bit heavy, or like really like, so low and there's just nothing going on up here. Okay. So about 2/3 of you have clicked on this poll. Sometimes it's a bit hard to tell. Okay, numbers are going up, that's great, thank you. Mostly there's a feeling of ungrounded. A little bit more, just shortly behind that, is a feeling of some people a bit heavy and a bit too grounded. So we'll try and balance this out. And what's great is the channel we're going to be really focusing on, this that we are focusing on this month, is one that is about sending energy down. Now, for the people who are too ungrounded, that'll be really helpful. For the people who are feeling a bit too grounded and a bit heavy, it's okay. We're going to do lots of tonifying, strengthening work. So that'll be all good. Okay, so we've got, most people are too ungrounded, but there is a little bit of grounded. So I've got my map here, and that's going to guide the session. So now we can all get started. One of the things that's really handy to get started before any session is to focus on the feet. And this is helpful for both grounded and ungrounded people. So have a sense of your feet shoulder width apart, so it's a nice distance apart. Take the weight over to one side. If you need to use the wall, absolutely fine. Lift up the other foot and just stretch the bottom of the foot out. Oh, such a nice feeling. Come back and then forwards. Wiggle the toes a bit. Stretch the bottom of the foot. Wiggle the toes a bit. If you can, roll over the top, and if you can't, put it behind you and just try and feel the tops of your toes on the floor to stretch the front of the foot a bit. Not really strong, but just a little bit. I'm quite happy stretching the top of my foot out, but if you need to, just do a little bit. Again, use a wall if you need to. Okay, now just going to shake it a little bit. Get the ball of the foot on the ground and start doing circles. You'll notice my toes click a lot. Unfortunately, over the years I've broken a couple of toes and they become clicky. And all of this movement is opening the little bones and tendons and muscles and clearing the channels in the feet. Ah, lovely, lovely, lovely. And then we'll go in the other direction. And if it's not doing much for you, then start bringing a bit more weight over the foot. So you're having to put a bit more effort into the foot and the ankle. But if you're already feeling something, you don't need to. Okay, give it a bit of a shake off. Plop it back down. Come into the center. And just notice difference between the 2 feet. Okay. The foot that you've just been working is probably nice and open now, so let's just sink our weight over that foot, if you need to. Bring the other foot up, stretch out the sole of the foot, and then come back, wiggle the toes, sole of the foot. If you have very painful feet or toes, do this very gently. I know this is quite a small thing we're doing to begin with, but just go with it. And then over the tops of the toes, or if it's easier, behind you, and just feel a bit of a stretch on top. And then come back. Circles. And feel all of those lovely bones and parts of the foot opening up, loosening up. All of those tendons and blood vessels and channels of energy and life, just starting to open and move in the feet. And then the other direction. Okay, give it a bit of a shake out. Okay, pad. And okay, now we've started, we've got a good base. So give your legs a bit of a wobble. You can do side to side, kind of wobble. You can do a backwards and forwards, like that way. Just so you're starting to loosen up your legs. Maybe get a hold of the thigh and wobble it down to the knee. So you're just loosening all of the muscles around the bone. Loosen the lower leg. You can just do it like that if you'd prefer. Upper leg, the knee. It's important to give the knees a bit of love. You know, they take a lot. Down, or you can just do it like this. Wobble, 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 wobble. So now our legs a bit more sort of felt from the ground all the way up. And this is great because this brings us to our lower burner. So we're going to start by rubbing our hands together. Generate a little bit of energy in the hands. Almost imagine you're like rolling a ball between your hands. Nice. Yeah, there we go. And then bring it to your lower belly. So my belly button is up here. My pubic bone is down here. So you're kind of in between. And then you're going to do circles. And imagine that energy that you've been building up in the hands, and generally a feeling of warmth and movement is starting to kind of sink in to your lower belly, sink into that lower burner. And this really supports our kidneys and our intestines. And that really helps with lots and lots of things. The intestines and the kidneys and the lower burner in general have lots of different aspects that they can help with. And one of them is a bit like clearing away waste, purification, elimination, things like that. Of course, this is the area where we draw things out when we go to the loo. So really handy to support this area. And then also, we've got the kidneys are like the foundation of all of our yin and yang in the body. So this is really getting down to our constitutional health. So really lovely to support. Try and keep that feeling almost kind of like sinking into the body as we're doing this. Okay, almost done. Lovely. And then if you can, slide your hands round to the back. And if your shoulders allow it, then we're going to be rubbing on the kidneys on the lower back with our hands. If it's too much for your shoulders, then just tap the front of your body and imagine that it's going like, it's not just tapping the belly, but you're tapping as if you're trying to tap right through to your lower back. And I'm going to try the actual circling of my kidneys. And if you want to, you can bounce up and down so your arms aren't doing too much. Here we go. That's a bit nicer. Yummy. Tap around your lower belly and sides and back. Okay. And we're going to do breathing by holding that same area we've just been circling and tapping and stuff. Now, if you want to, you can have one hand on the front, one hand on the back, or you can have both hands on the front. And we're going to breathe in, and as you breathe out, imagine that you're pouring your warm out breath through your hands, or you can imagine warm water, or a lovely, beautiful elixir of life, or nice honey, or something that's kind of warm and nourishing and strengthening, pouring out of your hands. So you breathe in, and as you breathe out through the hands and into the body and towards the back. Breathing in. Really hold and support and nourish that lower burner. It's really great to do this always. It supports every other part of us upwards from there. So it's the foundations. Just notice what it feels like in your lower back, pardon me, in your trunk, in your belly, as you do this. Okay. And now, last of all, we're going to tap down the inside of the leg here. It's not just the inside. It's almost like we're trying to reach round to the edge of the back of the leg. So it's going to be tapping down like this, and I find that if you point your toes outwards, you can do both at the same time. So tapping down, we go to the inside of the foot. So it's kind of inside, but slightly further around towards the back. About halfway down the thighs, we start there. Tap, 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 tap. Now this is the actual kidney channel. So we're going to be like waking up the kidney energy, which is really handy, and that's the thing that really governs this lower burner. Okay, and now, as Cliff always loves to do, we're going to do kidney 1 point on the foot. So I'm going to get the chair. Here we go. Kidney 1 point here. So it's like the foot is in thirds, and it's this point, this 1/3 down from the top, just below the ball of the foot. And if you can get both fingers in, oh God, that's nice. Really scrunch into that kidney 1 point. And maybe start to like squidge all around the sole of the foot. Oh, maybe you'll find some points that are a little bit ouchy and tender. That's okay. That just means that there's a little bit of a blockage in that area, and a little bit of squeezing it, I've just found one, will help it to start to loosen. Don't be too sort of like, no pain, no gain. You know, be nice and gentle, but know that if there's pain, it is most likely there's a little bit of a blockage, and it'll benefit from a little bit of a clearing work. So that's like a basic. Okay, and then give the feet a bit of a sort of squeeze and a wiggle. Okay, we'll do a bit of a tapping. You can use an open hand or a loose fist, so there's like a little bit of space in the fist. Tapping kidney 1, down to the heel, back up again, maybe towards the toes and back down again. Onto the side of the heel, maybe a bit of tapping around the ankle. Lovely. Okay, just notice how the 2 feet feel. Are they a bit different? Probably very different. Mine are. Okay, so we're going to get the other one now. And again, it's like a third of the way down, which is just under the ball of the foot. So if you can get your foot really close, that's great. If you can't quite get it this close to reach with your hands, see if you can get something on the floor, whether it's the edge of a sofa or a tennis ball or something, and just kind of like roll your foot on it. So you're rolling your foot on the edge of something around that area. But if you can reach it, oh, great. I mean, the best thing, of course, is getting someone else to do it for you. And the best time of day to be doing this sort of squeezing of the feet is at night. Because this really is the yin, it's the most yin aspect of the body. It's the most yin as in like calm, deep, hidden. And so therefore it's most in tune with the time of night, which is darker and cooler, and it's when the body's meant to be calming down. So great for sleep, great for rest. Just easing out the foot, squeezing all around the sole of the foot. Wiggling the foot about a little bit. And then we'll do a bit of tapping. It's a loose wrist and a loose fist. Go down to the heel, back up to that kidney 1 point in the middle of the sole of the foot, maybe on top of the ball of the foot near the toes, back down. maybe around the inner ankle. And this is all benefiting the lower burner. Okay, I'm going to move this chair now. So, come to standing again. Just notice, how are your legs feeling? How are your feet feeling? All the way up into the lower burner. Kind of feeling a bit nicer. So I feel like it needs a little bit something more. I don't know about you. So I'm just going to get us to do some hip rotations, some pelvis rotations. There's a couple of ways of doing this. So if you bring your attention down to your lower back, your lower burner, and your hips, you start off small, just going out to the side and just going around in a circle. And just noticing what it feels like with the legs straight and the feet forwards. Just doing a few circles. And sort of mainly just trying to move the pelvis. Sort of the rest of the body doesn't want to be moving that much. So you're kind of just moving the pelvis. Okay. Hopefully that's not causing any discomfort at all. If it is, take it much smaller. But if you can, great. Now, whilst you're turning your hips, just turn your feet outwards. I was going this way, wasn't I? Yeah. And carry on. And notice how that changes effect in where in the hips and the lower backs do you feel it? And now you can like bend your knees a little bit. So that changes the feeling as well. Ooh, a little click. Something needed to release there. And a bit more of the body can start to move in. Don't lean back too much because that can be a bit much on the back. But just notice how that's affecting that kind of whole lower body area. Okay. And then we can bring our feet in. And the legs will kind of tend to straighten up a bit more. But you've still got that kind of like wide movement, the body's involved. What's it like? Okay, and then bring that to a close. And then we're going to go in the other direction. Start off small, get a little bit bigger. Legs are straight, feet are forwards. And turn the feet out. Get a little bit bigger. You can let the knees bend a little bit. Remember, we're not leaning back loads. We're not like that. You're just going, finding kind of like a bit of an opening movement. I'm actually staying pretty upright with my body when I do that. I'm trying to show you. Like that. So I'm not leaning back. Okay. So feet are out. Then bring our feet in. Last couple of movements, just getting smaller and smaller and smaller. Notice how the hips and the lower back feel, that lower body. Okay, almost like a tiny little pencil is all the way through the center of our body, drawing tiny circles on the ground. Tiny weeny circles. And then let go. And just notice standing there. Now, how does that lower body feel? Bit more open, bit more energy, bit more full? Hope so, mine does. Okay, so now we can move to the middle burner. What time have we got to already? Blimey, we're already halfway through. Now we get to the middle burner. So first of all, the middle burner in general wants to be kind of like free-flowing and smooth and able to sort of be nice and open. And oftentimes it can get quite tight for lots of different reasons, whether it be more physical sort of digestive stuff or the diaphragm tightening, or whether it's more emotional stuff. It almost doesn't really matter. There's lots of reasons why. And we can often feel our anxiety in this area. So it's a really nice area to kind of bring our attention to and move around. So first of all, just sort of stroke the area a little bit. And it doesn't have to be really firm stroking. It can be nice and gentle. But sort of generally you can like do circles with your belly, or you can kind of feel around your rib cage and just sort of notice what it feels like having some touch on the area of your middle burner, of your thing. And maybe the middle burner is so tight and full that it feels a little bit nauseous, a bit sicky feeling doing that. Or maybe it's so in need that actually that feels really yummy and beneficial. So it's just really handy to notice these things. It's not that anything is wrong, it's just a really useful thing to notice. Okay, so we can do a little bit of gentle tapping on the ribs. So I'm around my rib cage here, the lower part of my rib cage. I'm just kind of tapping either side. You can do it more like this if you want to. If you can reach around like that, that's great. Now, if you feel like this is really tight and you really would like it to kind of release up more, then you can really go for it. You can get into the belly a bit more. But if you need it to be a bit more gentle, stay gentle. You find what's right for you. Sometimes that means a bit of exploring and playing and trying. Go for it. Okay. And stroke it down. There we go. Notice how it's feeling now. Oh, a little bit of movement. So now we're going to do a movement, an exercise that we often do here, where we're turning the hips. Now, what's really handy is if you have your feet forwards and you try to have your knees kind of bent and over the tops of your toes. You see how like my knees are pretty much over the top of my toes? That's great. And when we twist, we're not letting our knees go out to the side and our feet lifting off the floor. We're trying to keep our feet flat on the floor and our legs pretty much straight over the top. And we're just turn our hips and our body just goes with it. So you turn the hips and then the body just twists around with it. I'm going to move forward so I don't hit my hands on the wall. And you can let your arms go all floppy. Try to have a nice sort of straight spine. So it's almost like you're just twisting round. I remember once Shakura, who hopefully you've seen here, if not then on the webinars as well, she was describing it like a towel being twisted to wring out all the moisture. And you squeeze and twist the towel. So try to have that feeling with your spine. And again, you can have it going nice and gently, just feeling a little bit of movement each time you twist. Or if you really want to go for it, you can really open out, let the arms swing around and tap into yourself. This is if you really want strong movement and more strong release. But if you wanted to keep it nice and more open, more smooth and fluid, more gentle, and do that. Middle burner was pretty much the most, needed the butt, there we go, it's working. Was pretty much the most that needed to be worked. So this is a really nice one to do for a little while. Now here we go, here's a way that you can change it up a little bit. We're going to, as we go round, let the opposite foot come up. So you kind of get a bit further round and just notice as you're doing that, notice how your the middle of your body feels. Notice where your hands go to. If you need to change your breathing, go with it. So I'm not trying to make this really strong. I could make it a lot stronger, but I'm kind of in the middle with mine, so you can make this a lot gentler. You're kind of like, almost like you're about to sit down. I'm just going to sit down here. We're just doing this really nice, smooth movement. This really helps the middle of the body to start to twist and open and release. Okay, we're almost done with this. You can bring the feet back into the middle, bring your body back into the middle. Okay, and then just let the movements get smaller and smaller, still being aware of the middle of the body. Just naturally let them kind of like bounce. Any movement that's left in the body, just let it find its own timing of finishing. Be aware of that middle of the body, finding its moment, its time. It's almost the tiniest of movement left until finally you can just let go. Okay. So now we're going to tap down a few of the channels. Mainly, there's two channels we're going to focus on. The spleen and the liver. So they're both on the legs again. We're going to start in the belly here. So you're kind of like outside of the where the abdominal muscles are. The abdominal muscles are here. You're just outside of it. Tap down to the tops of the hips. And then front of the thighs, but kind of like in line with the inner aspect of your knee. So if that's the outer aspect of the knee, inner aspect of the knee, in line. All the way down, inside of the feet to the big toe. Do that again. And the spleen really supports, brings nourishment. It's earthy, it's sort of grounding, but it also supports us, just like how water comes up in a plant. And the plant doesn't pull it up, water just naturally rises up into the plant. Same way it does in a mountain and then springs out at natural springs. Last one with the spleen. Anywhere you find a sort of sore or interesting point, hang around there for a moment. Inside of the foot to the big toe. Okay, lovely. A little bit of stroke on the belly. And let's just notice, how does that middle burner feel now? Any different? Yeah, well, for me, it's starting to kind of loosen up and clear up a bit, which is really great. That was what I was really hoping for. Now, we're going to do a little bit on the sides of the ribs, coming in towards the top of the hip. So side of the ribs, coming round towards the front of the hip. Other side. And this is starting to, found a bit of a funny place here. Just going to hang around here a moment. This is getting the liver and its partner, the gallbladder. They govern the sides of the body, a bit like tent ropes on a big top tent. You can see I've got lots of sighing that obviously needs to come out. Okay, now we're going to do the insides of the legs. So again, I would encourage you to turn your toes outwards. So if you are facing forwards, turn your toes outwards and bend your knees. That way you can get to the inside of the leg. Inside of the knee, inside of the calf muscle, down, and then you go on top of the foot. And it's closest again to the big toe, but this time you're on top of the foot. So, toes out, inside the leg, inside the knee, inside the calf muscle, and then come to the top of the foot, close to the big toe. Last one. Liver loves a bit of smooth movement, a smooth expression of emotions, and creativity. It has that creative impulse, which of course, when that gets blocked, we can often get very bound up and frustrated, and so it wants to be smooth and flowing. Okay, here we go. How's that now? That middle burner feeling? Oh, do you know what? I feel like, again, there's one last thing we could do with this. So I'm going to get you to raise your arms up. Now, I'll bend myself down so that you can see my hands, but I want you to just be standing there normally, like this. So we're going to be reaching for the sky as if you're stroking the clouds. So you don't have to bend down like me. I just want you to be able to see my arms. As if you're stroking the clouds, and then you come back like this, and you can leave your arms up. It's like you're stroking the clouds, stroking the clouds. So if you're standing up straight, you probably won't bend over as much. You can lift the foot up and heel up off the floor, like that. And just feel the sides of the body open up. Never underestimate a good sigh. If you want to, you can lift the other heel up as well. It gives a slightly different feeling. You may even find that you lean over a bit more. Try to keep your shoulders nice and open, not lifted up, but nice and relaxed and open. Okay. And your arms still upwards, shoulders relaxed and sunk down. Turn the hands out and just let them float down evenly. Slowly, 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 slowly. Till they come to the sides of the body. Insides of the arm meet the sides of the body. Okay. Now, last time, just notice how's the middle of the burner feeling, the middle burner. For me that feels so much clearer, so much more released. So check in, the lower burner, how's that feeling? Still pretty sturdy from the first bit. Middle burner. Okay, a bit more released, a bit more movement. Grand, now we can come to the upper burner. So I'm going to get us to do some do in, the tapping. Start at the top of the chest here where it meets the shoulder. And this is the opening of the lung channel. We did lung 1 not that long ago, we've done it before as well. And then you're going down the top of the arm, and then just on the top of the inside to the thumb. Pardon me. We're going to go across the chest to the other side. Down the top of the arm to the thumb. Inside of the chest, top of the arm. We're not on the front, we're on the top. To the thumb. Okay. Give them a bit of a shake. You can shimmy your shoulders. Okay, I'm going to do a nice breathing exercise, and I'll bend my legs again so that you can see the arms. We're going to think, you can close your hands and point your thumb and finger, or you can just be sort of loosely open, but extend the thumbs and the forefingers. The thumbs where the lung channel ends, the forefingers where the large intestine channel ends. Those are the ones we've been focusing on the last 2 months. Okay, so we're going to breathe in and stretch up, point towards the sky, and then just let the arms drop. If this is too much for your shoulders, find where you can bring your arms to, and then really extend the fingers and the thumbs. Yeah, really extend. So find your level that you can get to. If one arm can go up, but the other arm can't, that's where you go to. You find your boundary. If you can do full, then breathe in. Make it a sigh. If you can yawn, even better. Let's yawn. Incredibly lovely way of opening the lungs and clearing the chest and stretching gently across the upper body and the arms. So we'll do this a couple more times. If you can yawn, yawn. Lovely big relaxing sigh as you drop your arms. And again, last one. Okay, now if this is making you a little bit like heady because you've just taken in a lot of oxygen, then just stamp your feet out like this, nice big steps, like you're kind of almost marching. Knees right up. Okay. So that was the lung that we were stretching. So we're going to do one more stretch. What's the time? Okay, we're getting on. So the last stretch we're going to do is for the one of the other qualities in the upper burner. That's the heart protector. So this lovely one Cliff does. We start our stretching forwards, and then we stretch open like that with the arms as far as you can, but keeping them level. Okay. So breathing in, reaching forwards, like you're going to dive, and then breathing out, opening out, and extending the middle finger especially. If you can reach back, great. And then relax. Okay, breathing in forwards. Feel the back open up, and then breathe out. Feel the chest and shoulders open out. One more. Okay. Just have a nice deep breath and a sigh. How's the upper burner feeling now? Let's tune into this upper body area. Then the middle burner. And then the lower burner. Okay. Is it exactly the same as it was when we started, or is it a bit different? Hopefully a bit different. Now I have got to show you, of course, point of the week, and it relates to the arm and the upper burner. So let me get the slides up. We're going to do a little bit of self-treatment. Here we go. It's large intestine 11 on the arm. Now, as you can see, if you bend your arm, you can see, there we go, you can see there's like a wrist, an elbow crease here, and it's right at the end of the elbow crease. Very easy way to find it. So that's the point. It's called Qi or Qi, pull by the bend. So it's like, the pull bit describes what it's like. It's like a bit of a dip. And there's like a bit that you almost feel like you can drop into. And of course it's by the bend. So very handy, very descriptive. This point is great for clearing heat in the body. Now, that doesn't just mean if you're feeling hot all of the time. It can also be if your blood tends to feel very hot, and if that causes lots of dry irritation and redness in the skin, if it feels like you're flushing up with heat a lot, and you can never seem to cool down. Dry eyes is another classic one. We'll come to more things in a bit, but this is the most cooling point in the whole body, and it really helps to clear that heat out of the blood. So that's one of the qualities. Another one is digestive issues. It's related with the large intestine. And the large intestine has a bit of a secret sort of bond with the stomach. So both of those qualities, stomach and large intestine, are both going downwards. So it's also a great point. If we've got any feeling of like upwards, or if the digestion is sort of not happily moving down and round, this can be a helpful point. Problems in the head, throat, eyes, toothache, headaches, especially headaches on the forehead. This all relates with the channel. And the channel runs, it governs the forehead, sinuses, round the nose, and then down across the side of the cheek, so it goes across the teeth, and then down through the neck here, and across the top of the shoulder. And this is a great point for clearing the channel. Just opens out. So, and of course locally with the elbow and upper arm. So we're going to just take a moment to relax. And I want you to start sort of squeezing down the arm and go straight past the point. If you want to use your thumb, you can like squeeze like this on the top of the arm, down to the, check where it is, there we go, the elbow crease, and then down the top of the arm, and go past the point. Maybe you notice something at that point, maybe you don't, that's okay. I'll drop this slide so you can see. So, here we go. So we're just going past the point. You can use your fingertips as well. Going past the point. Notice whether it just has a little bit of a difference in feeling. Okay. Now we're going to hold the point. Just hold that point. And close your eyes. And as you're holding it, just letting your arms kind of become a bit heavy. And notice whereabouts you feel the response. Is it in the head? Is it in the shoulders? The arm itself? Or more of a general feeling? It might be entirely locally, just at the elbow. It might be more of the shoulder and the neck. It might be right up into the face and head. Or you may get a general feeling. Okay, and give it a little bit of a rub, and we'll do the other side. Squeeze, 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 just down and past the point. You can use your thumb if you prefer. Notice I'm not like up like this. My arms are down and relaxed. And you're just kind of like squeezing as you go. Top of the arm. Now we're going to come to that wrist, that elbow crease, find the point. I'm just going to hold that a second. Makes me want to sigh again. That's good. Okay, and now as you're holding it and your arms are relaxed, your attention is relaxing, are you noticing whether it's more in the elbow itself, more in the upper arm and the shoulder, the neck, more into the actual face and head? Or are you feeling it more generally in the body? Oh, interesting. So, okay, give it a little bit of a rub down. We are going to finish up any second because I know that we're going to end up going over time. Sorry, everyone. But please feel free to put in, I haven't got the chat up, so I'm just going to get the chat up. Feel free to put in if you felt it anywhere in particular. Did you feel it more in the elbow, more up here, or just generally? The reason I laughed was because when I was doing this one, I felt it in the shoulder on the opposite side. So it's kind of like You know, it doesn't have to be the same side. Sometimes it has a response in the opposite side. Just have to go with it. Okay, so we're going to have one last thing we're going to do. We're going to just check in with each other, check in with ourselves, and then I'll switch off. Okay, so have a sense of standing there. If you can, if you've still got the time. Are you still up? Are you still down? Have you balanced out a bit? Okay, we're just going to do one last thing to try and help it. We're going to do this movement that Cliff does. Okay, so it's just pushing your legs into the ground. And as you stand up, the arms float up to shoulder height. And then the legs sink down and the arms sink back and down. Push into the ground and open up. Sink down. If you've got the time, join in. If you haven't and you need to leave, that's fine. Thank you for coming and cheerio. We'll join in with the circle in a second. But for now, just try and have a sense. If you've been too heavy, imagine you're being drawn up. If you were too light, imagine yourself feeling the ground sinking underneath you. So you're sinking into the ground, you're pushing into the ground. If you need the up, then feel yourself drawn up and then gently let back down. So just do a couple more. Smooth movements. You can even have your arms going out sideways. Okay. And come back to the center. And if you're still with me, thank you. I know I go over time easily. Last way we finish off is just by having a sense of the circle of the people, the whole class, even the people who have had to go early and the people who are tuning in later. Have a sense of this group, great big circle of people, this community, and a thank you. Heartfelt thank you for everyone joining in and making this class what it is. Okay. It's been lovely working with you again today. And I know I went over time and I don't really apologise that much. I'm sure everyone's got their own timing. My pace tends to be a bit slow sometimes. Here's Kat.
Hello.
Thank you so much, Kat, for being on the chat. It looks like there's plenty happening.
Yeah, it was lovely.
Excellent. And it's nice to hear, Liz, that you're feeling a bit better from that. Thank you so much. And it's lovely to see you all in the chat and great class.
Yeah.
Cliff will be back next week with another large intestine point. And yeah, have a beautiful day.
Bye.
Okay, let's see if I can find out how to turn this off. Bye-bye.